Hey guys, it's Will JC here, back with another video. Today I'm trying out Plumbella's Plumbevil shell challenge. Now this is the first shell challenge I've done. I wanted to play around, see what it's like, and see what I can come up with. So I started off with this funny little diagonal piece on the front of the build. I thought, balcony, why not? I put up some fences, put up a little door. It's probably not usable, but you know, the door opens up into the room. You can stand there, get cool, put your laundry on it if you want. I don't know, it looks, you know, kind of cute. Next up, I moved onto this weird little triangle piece on the corner bit. Now I thought this could be great as a front door for the house. So I replaced the entire walls with spandrels just to give it sort of like a sort of trellisy feel. I put that on the top as well. Put a couple of fences around, a couple of beams up as well, just to make it really look built in. Then I covered the entire build in the columns as well, which really gives it almost like sort of Tudor vibe. That's where I first got the idea for this build. I was just playing around to start with, but putting in those columns really gave it quite a nice sort of feature. So I thought I'll roll with it and see what we come up with. Next up, I gave the place a really dark roof to match the black columns I put throughout the place to really give it that sort of well-worn-in feel. I moved the whole building to the corner as well. So it made it sort of like a quite sort of nice corner entrance, and I really love the way it turned out there. Then I found the Tudor style walls which fitted this place absolutely perfectly. I put stone half walls at the bottom and then just plain white with the beams across the top to give it a nice sort of oldie worldy feel, and I think it worked really well. I added the windows on a little bit later as well, so you'll see them a bit further down the video, but they really tie in nicely. The next bit that I really love was the curved roof feature. Now I only slightly curved the roof of this building outwards. Normally I don't do this because I can find the look almost a little bit alien, but putting that just slight curve on made the whole place feel pretty old-fashioned, and I think it works really well with the aesthetic I've gone for here. Next up was filling the place up with windows. Now I went for these ones from Seasons. These are probably one of my all-time favourite windows. They look great in any build, they come in loads of different sizes, and they just work with anything, to be honest. Next up, we're going up to the bathroom upstairs. Now, I used the landing up here. I was originally thinking about putting a room in here, but I didn't want to add any extra walls in. I know that's part of the challenge. So what I did was created a nice fenced off area, creating a little balcony. We've also got a little dining chair there with 2 seats, so you can nip up, have your lunch on the balcony. It's quite a nice little vibe. But with the bathroom, what I thought was, if I'm doing a Tudor style house, back in the day, not many people in the UK would have had toilets inside. Most of you have to pop one down to the end of the garden and find a little shed with a hole in the ground. So, and that was if you were rich, to be honest. If you were poor, you had a pot you threw it out into the street. Good old Britain, great times, eh? Moving on from toilets, I've started to decorate the upstairs of the house. With this, I wanted to go for a more modern vibe. The sort of thing where it's been renovated, it looks a little bit nicer. So in this bedroom, I used a nice dark navy with dark woods as well, giving it a bit of an industrial style, a little bit modern, some quite nice touches. Now the curtains I use here are actually ones that I very, very rarely use, but they seem to work perfectly with this window, and there's some great colour swatches in there too. So these have been dotted around in the bedroom. They've also been put in the spare bedroom, which is, I'll be honest, it's tiny, but it's the sort of thing your mates would stay in if they were crashing over. It's not really intended to be a full-size bedroom. Moving on from the upstairs, I attempted to do something with this big pit in the ground. Now this really isn't an easy thing to work with. I started off by putting a staircase in from the back door. This made it feel like it was more part of the house rather than a garden piece or anything. I kept the brickwork theme going down from the building, so it almost looked like a dungeon underneath. With that, I put in this dungeon style door too, to make it, well, it's really fit in with the build. I played around with a few ideas of what I could do down here. I was thinking of making it into a sort of secret garden, which I'll do a little bit later on in the video, but at this point I literally had no clue what to do with this place. But I did add on these chimneys onto the little triangle pieces that are on the side, which I think work really well with the build. They give it a really sort of industrial look and make it feel like it was a building that was used for something else at some time. I was playing around to see what I could do, and I just couldn't figure it out. So with that, I moved on to the downstairs and start furnishing. So I started with the living room. I thought if I put this towards the front, it makes it quite a small living room, but definitely usable, and I can make use of that nice little triangle corner. So I put a small sort of end table there, put the TV on top, and it worked out really well. It saved quite a decent amount of space in there, in all fairness. I also went for some slightly older fashioned furniture to meet with the vibe of the house, which I really like the colours of. Going for this green in here seemed to work quite well with the house. Moving on to the kitchen though, this is hands down got to be my favourite part of the build. I saw this alcove in the side of the kitchen and thought, let's put a cooker in there. I thought if I used the older style cooker, it would look quite cool. So what I did was built a little archway, popped the cooker in, so it looks almost like an old fireplace. I wanted to keep this sort of theme going in the kitchen too, so we've gone for the older style fridge with a slightly more industrial countertop. Again, and they're in the darker colours, but they seem to work out really nicely. It took me a while to figure out what I can do with the layout of this place though. I wanted to have an area where you've got a dining table and a couple of chairs, just so you've got somewhere to eat as well. So figuring it out took a while. I got there in the end though, and it seems to work really well in all fairness. I then put on some finishing touches to the kitchen and living room, adding lots of little bits of clutter, putting in the cabinets on there as well to fit in with the kitchen, and really giving it quite a nice vibe. Moving on then, I went into the downstairs bathroom. With this, I wanted to give it more of a modern feel. So we've got quite a nice blue tile in there. I even made use of the university shower and a window as well to make it feel like it was almost one of those walk-in showers, you know, the really sort of posh ones you get. It mixes quite well with the vintage vibe and having just that open planness there as well. So I was quite happy with how that all turned out. I also tried to squeeze in a bookcase to the living room, but there just wasn't really enough space in there. It is quite a small room. So instead I added a few pictures on the walls, added a cute little lampshade in there as well, and it seemed to work quite well together. Next up, I continued the chimneys up on the other side where we've got the other triangle parts too, just to really fit it in. They work quite well because they're both on diagonals to each other, so I thought they could have worked at some point as some sort of machinery or water mill or whatever this place could have been used for in the past. And then we moved on to the pit. This pit took me so long to try and figure out what to do with. First of all, I tried putting a few patio chairs down there, which I think I kept in the end because I think they look quite cute down there, making it sort of like a secret garden. I tried putting a bar in the little alcove, but it just didn't really seem to work. I tried a few different ideas and I didn't like any of them at all. So in the end, I just stuck some music in there as well, put a nice big fountain out the back to make it almost like a common ground out there. Moving on to the bit I've sort of labelled as the dungeon, I started turning this into almost like a sort of at-home pub. It's got a nice big bar in there with some nice university bar stools. You've also got a nice big red sofa in there too, so it really gives it that sort of party feel. It's that sort of room you have in a bit of a party house, so I really like the idea behind this, and I really like how it turned out. I also had a bit of extra space in there as well, so I converted it into a larger bathroom. It allows whoever lives here to actually have a bath, and it also gives you a little bit more room in there as well. So if you're down having a drink, you've got access to the bathroom, you don't have to go all the way up the stairs. And again, I'm really happy with how that turned out. Once I completed everything with the furniture in the pit, I decided to put in some foliage to give it a more sort of overgrown feel. I used the wall planters from Get Together, and they work really well. I thought, if in doubt, just stick a load of flowers on the wall, and it seemed to work in my favour. So that brings us on to the end of the video. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. If you have, please remember to drop me a like and give me a subscribe to keep an eye out for some more videos coming up soon. I'll leave you with a few screenshots of the build, and I'll see you in the next one.